Hello and welcome to the Remote Work Movement podcast. I am your host, Gonçalo Hall, and today my guest is Kristiina Aljas-Saarma, the head of sales at One Office. One Office helps companies and people to incorporate in Estonia with E-Residency. So if you have questions about E-Residency, this is the podcast that you were waiting for. We'll be speaking about Estonia e-residency opportunities, why you should open a company in Estonia, the work of One Office to help you open a company very easily, and the future of work and also the competition to attract businesses as we see more and more countries trying to create a similar business model like Estonia created with the e-residency, for example, Portugal and several other countries. So, if you are very curious about the e-residency program, or if you plan to open a new company, you definitely need to hear this. Also, Kristiina has an amazing deep knowledge about the e-residency program, so you should definitely listen to her instead of just getting advice in the internet. So be smart, stay safe, and I hope you enjoy this amazing podcast with Kristiina. Hi, Kristiina. Welcome to the podcast and to the remote work movement. Can you tell us and everybody listening to us, what do you do for a living?
Hi, as told, my name is Kristiina, and I'm a head of sales in an Estonian company or Estonian group called One Office. And it means that I run the sales department, and we do provide services for digital nomads and freelancers and remote entrepreneurs, and we help them to do business globally without with as less hassle as possible.
Nice. And first of all, can you tell us what's the e-residency program? Because there is a lot of ruckus in the news, people talking about Estonia, people talking about e-residency, but most of the people don't actually know what it is. Can you explain us what is the e-residency program?
The e-residency or the e-residency card is actually an amazing tool, and it's like a digital status, and it enables foreigners to get access to Estonian digital services. So in Estonia, we can do most of the things online. There are only a couple of things that people have to show up. So it's getting married or getting divorced or buying.
I don't understand the getting married in person. I think we should pass that movement, or we should get married just online.
Yeah, exactly. Well, perhaps in the future, but right now, in 2020, it's still we have to show up.
Damn it.
And since we can do everything that you can think of, we can do online. Then when e-residency program was started 5 years ago, then the same possibilities were open to foreigners. Because if a foreigner wanted to register a company, they had to travel to Estonia. Or if a foreigner wanted to make changes, they had to show up in person. And with the e-residency status, they can actually do everything online. They can have the Estonian company. They can come from anywhere from the world and work everywhere with their Estonian company.
Yes.
And the bureaucracy is made as low as possible.
I have a friend that he was he's Spanish, and the company it was in Spain, and he was in the north of Europe, and he had to go back to Spain just to sign a document because some alinea in the law had changed, and that is crazy that you have to go back to a country to sign a paper, to be in the line for 2 hours to sign the paper, and then just to say, yeah, that's it, you can go home. So in Estonia, with this program, you don't have to do it. You have everything online.
Exactly, and it sounds crazy for us to do so. That just for some paperwork, you have to spend time, you have to spend money. If you spend time, this is already double money expenditure that you will have. So I have heard from our clients as well all these horror stories about the bureaucracy, and you can't do something because you need one thing, and you can't get the one thing because you need the second thing, and it's like endless circle, and you just go crazy.
So do you agree with me? Like the e-residency, the biggest strength that you have is not only that you can start the company online, because you can do that in a lot of countries, in the US, in Hong Kong. Most of the countries now, you have somehow that chance of starting a company online. So would you agree that the biggest strength that Estonia and e-residency program has is actually that there is no bureaucracy, or the bureaucracy is very low because you are optimizing all the systems inside the country?
Yes, that's right. The bureaucracy is low, and it's true that the company can be set up online in other countries as well. But either the bureaucracy is so huge that it's not beneficial for the person, or maintaining the company is kind of complicated, or taxation side that the tax system is not that attractive for people.
That's true, yeah. And who is the perfect client for this? I can imagine a lot of people interested, but like for example, digital nomads, some digital nomads are just remote workers, but some have companies, some don't, some discount as personal taxpayers, like normal personal freelancers. Who is the perfect client? Is it someone that's starting a company? Can it be also a freelancer that is having good money and prefers to open a company, maybe wants to form an agency? Who is this perfect client for you?
I would say anyone who has a clear plan of what kind of business they want to do, what they want to achieve, where they want to end up. Uh, and it really doesn't matter whether it's a new entrepreneur who hasn't done any business before, because we are ready to help in the first steps and grow with this client. And also, we have clients who have been in business for years and years. So they are, in our sense, they are not SMEs, small or medium enterprises anymore, but they are quite big ones. So whoever feels that our services are a good match, we onboard. We have some exclusions, for instance, because of the anti-money laundering and KYC regulations and everything. So this is another topic of bureaucracy, which is coming as a huge avalanche on us. So we do exclude all the residents and people from high risk countries. So it's North Korea, Iran. Iceland is actually in the list right now, which is interesting.
Wow.
And there are a couple of African countries, and also Cambodia was there, and so on. So there are like 7, 8 different countries that Pakistan as well that we cannot onboard. And the other thing is cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency is. It was under-regulated, but now more and more regulations come into effect. It means that, for instance, in Estonia, if e-residents want to set up cryptocurrency business, there is a requirement that the management board has to reside in Estonia. It means that they cannot do it elsewhere. There is a huge state fee, which was about, I guess, 3,300 euros and so on. And they have to have white paper, they have to have business plan. It's not anymore the popular, I heard that somebody got rich and I want to do this business, but they have to put real effort under this business. So these are our exclusions, but otherwise, yeah, the ones who start the business and the ones who have already done the business or have been freelancers, they are a bit more convenient client group in a sense that they already know what to do next, and they just need the legal entity, and they don't need as much hand holding in the business running the business from their side, because we can't do the business for them. We can help with all the bureaucracy, the accounting side, and so on.
The whole headaches that we have as business owners, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What's the minimal annual revenue that you would advise someone that it's time to incorporate?
So now it depends on the goals. If somebody is actually invoicing on a monthly basis, then it's already quite a good a reason to think about setting up a legal entity. We do have these umbrella solutions that you can use some company which invoices on your behalf, and they take some percentage. It depends on the invoice amount and so on. So what a person could do is just to compare whether this percentage is less or higher than running a company, because there are some management costs for the company.
Of course.
But if you do invoice already on a monthly basis, then eventually it might be more beneficial to have the legal entity. And also it depends where you want to end up. If you know that, okay, I invoice only 3 months and after that this project is done and I won't invest, then it might not make sense to have a company.
Totally agree. I want to step out a little bit and go a little bit back because I was wondering why Estonia? What's so special about Estonia? So the country is it's a little bit outside the Central Europe, near Russia, and somehow you were able to digitalize everything. But what was the cause? What led you to go on this way and not just follow everyone else and be a normal country with a lot of bureaucracy? Do you know what's behind it?
Yeah, as an Estonian, of course, I know. It's since the Soviet Union collapsed in early 90s, then we were a poor country, very small country compared to others in the world. We have this stigma that we came from Soviet Union, Eastern European, some shady monkey business, very very risky area. So we had to kind of stand out somehow. And I'm really glad that the government at that time was innovative and future looking, that they decided that every school has to have an internet connection. And from there, it started that schools had internet connections, libraries, and from there, homes started to have the connections. I come from that generation where I was, I guess 13, 14. When I wanted to go to the internet, it was connected to our landline phone number. So people my age and older know when you have this phone on the screen and it dials into the internet connection. So this is where it all started. And they also build up infrastructure. Then we joined the EU in 2004, and all these grants and supports as well. And this has been it was Tiger Jump was the project's name, and this has been the kind of the trigger for all our other success, I feel.
Nice. So what's amazing that you do have some really big companies that people don't know they are from Estonia. So you have very big corporations that started as startups a couple of years ago, and now they are huge. Can you give us some examples of big companies that are actually Estonian and nobody know that they are Estonian?
So the first one is Skype,
Yes.
but I have heard there are some discussions whether it's Estonian Danish or Estonian Danish and Swedish and so on. But of course, Estonians say that it's Estonian. With Skype, it's also really interesting that the employees who worked early on in Skype, they are the next generation of our startup founders. And of course, from Skype, we have TransferWise, which is also very known over the world.
Yes.
Then we have Playtech. There's Taxify, which changed the name to Bolt, so they are competing with Uber, and so on, so on. We are using Pipedrive. This is sales CRM, and they just raised another round of, I don't know, millions or billions. So Estonia's startup ecosystem is doing very well. So we have more startups per capita than any other country in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice. And that's fun because, again, you are a very small country, very far from Central Europe, and you have an ability to create successful startups with amazing ideas like TransferWise. Now it's worldwide. They started just simply as wiring money, and now they are competing with Revolut, face to face with Revolut today, which is a huge startup in their own game. So it's fantastic how you are not only for companies that are online, but you as a country are also doing really cool stuff and having startup. I think you have a couple of unicorns at least, no?
We have 4 unicorns. So
that's more
these
than
are
Portugal.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. So it's a lot for this tiny country, and as far as I see from as a bystander, they are still working hard to maintain this kind of reputation to make the startup environment even better. And then we do have a startup visa, which means that if somebody has a really good startup idea, which is scalable in IT, then they can actually come and reside in Estonia and work on it, and eventually perhaps even stay here.
I think, yeah, the best part is that I don't know many cities in Europe, maybe with the exception of Berlin and Lisbon. I know Lisbon, I'm here, so I have to put Lisbon in the list. That have such a very cool startup mentality. I never been to Estonia yet. I want to go there this year, but what I hear is that I know you are cold right now. We are recording this in the end of January, but what I hear is that it's a very cool environment to be. It's a very cool because there is people doing stuff, people visiting you because they want to visit the companies, they want to start the companies, even if they are setting up their residency, they want to visit you because they hear all these startups growing there. So the impact that the e-residency had in Estonia, it goes far behind having some people setting up the companies there. You are actually in the mouth of the world, not just, yeah, it's a cool place to start a company, but yeah, it's a cool place to go because they have this startup mentality and they're competing side by side with Berlin, with Lisbon as a startup hub.
That's true, and it's really amazing to see like how much talent is actually attracted here to Estonia. The other day, I was speaking with a guy who said that they are starting with also a startup. They are starting to provide food delivery services in Estonia. We have a couple, but they are quite expensive, and not all of them bring food to a city border, for instance. So hassle. And they said that they have a technology in order to provide this delivery to homes, to families without any delivery fees. And I was very curious, like how it's done. But people come up with different ideas, and it's really really good environment to do so. We say that in Estonia we are the people get the shit done. So we do want to have everything done. So perhaps this is something. Some roots are coming from Germany. That when we were occupied or under German rule, then Germans are also very on point, and everything has to be done. So this is one side, and from other side we have the Russia and that kind of like talent pool that is coming to Estonia as well.
And hustling, yeah. People in Russia, they hustle, they work, they know how to work.
Yeah,
What
we know
about,
how to work.
yeah, I met programmers from Estonia, also from Estonia, but from Russia are really outstanding, and they are really very high regarded because of that in the startup world. What impact do you see in the country? So 5 years ago there was no e-residency. Now you are living in a world where Tallinn is hot. If you say Estonia, people don't think twice. They know where it is. At least people inside the startup world, everybody knows where Estonia is right now, and that was not the case 5 years ago. What was the impact that you see daily in Estonia, living in Tallinn, in the way people behave there, in the way your country is perceived? Can you tell us a little bit about what changed from 5 years ago?
I would say Estonia has become more international, and I love it. I truly love it. It's not only tourists as foreigners that you can see, but there are so many foreign students. There are so many foreign entrepreneurs, plus e-residents. And when you are not just a tourist, then you will make an impact in Estonian economy in a much larger scale. It's not only paying for the restaurant and for the accommodation, but it's also to go out to have a after work drink with co-workers in some bar. Telliskivi is absolutely a gem to be in. Then there's also services that you use. You will rent an apartment and so on, which reminds me that because of that, this Tallinn rental fees have also gone up. So it has a huge and indirect impact to Estonian economy, and we shouldn't be in a populist decision making involved in populist decision making, saying that all foreigners or non-residents should be sent out of Estonia. It's very very kind of popular to say it out loud in Estonia as well. Depends on the party, and you can see how short-sighted it is. We can't deny that we live in a global world, and we cannot shut down our doors to foreigners. And we have the same. We are a small country. We have so few people, only 1.3 million. We have a lot of land. And it means also that the all our nation is actually aging. We don't have so many births coming in, And when we in that situation say that no, we don't want foreigners or foreign entrepreneurs or non-residents to be included in our ecosystem, then we are actually kind of killing ourselves. We are very worried about that the Estonian language will die and so on, but the Estonian language will survive. If it survived the Soviet Union time, then 50 years.
Yes.
Then it can survive some foreigners as well. It's up to us. So if I speak Estonian, then Estonian will be alive for another 100, 200 years. But yeah, I feel that we have to be open-minded. We have to take advantage of the situation that we have, and we shouldn't make stupid, short-sighted decisions in government-wise.
Yeah, well, that's happening everywhere, right? In Portugal, we also have waves of people saying that we should not receive more people because we are always very welcoming to everyone. We are in the same situation as you. We try to attract everyone to our country. So we have a lot of people from Africa, a lot of people from the US right now, and all over Europe. And they come here because we have good weather, not because it's great to start a company in Portugal.
But I would say that usually the ones traveling, they are perhaps a bit more ambitious and a bit more talented as well. It means that talent is coming in, and we should keep that talent.
Yes. That's the beauty for me of the digital nomad movement. And we were talking before about the impact that the digital nomad movement can have in the country. Even in the city, you were in Canggu, you saw how Bali grew with the digital nomad movement in that specific area, places like Chiang Mai. Even now, Da Nang is really hot. So we see digital nomadism helping places to grow, helping businesses to start. And Estonia is actually trying to start a digital nomad visa. What do you know about the Estonian digital nomad visa? Is it going forward? Will we be able to visit? I can visit Estonia, but will be any other digital nomad able to visit Estonia in the future and enjoy the nice startup environment and good cafe I heard you have there?
Yeah, this is actually the recent news is that the digital nomad visa will be approved by the government, and when president signs it, then we have it, and it means that any digital nomad who has a company, it doesn't even matter if it's Estonian company or somewhere else, if they travel to Estonia, then they are legally allowed to work for the company. The current situation is kind of like schizophrenic, because when you have the company, you use the tourist visa to come here and you work. Actually, in reality, everybody's doing the work, but in like if you follow the regulations, then the lawyers can say that no, you are not allowed to work here. So in a sense, Estonia has legalized the actual life that is happening, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I think the thing is that most of the countries haven't understood that work is not what it used to be. That laws exist because people used to move to a country to work for the local companies because you had to work inside an office. Nowadays, you don't. Nowadays, I'm in Portugal working, interviewing you that you are in Estonia, and I work with US, I work with Brazil, I work with Bali, and I don't have to be there to work there. So every time I go to a place, me as a digital nomad, I'm actually never stealing jobs, which is the biggest fear of all the right wing. We are not stealing jobs from the locals. Actually, we are creating a lot of jobs for the locals just for the amount of cafes that open in a digital nomad destination, the amount of side businesses, massages, wherever. Digital nomads spend money and spend money locally. We don't stay for 1 week. We don't go to the tourist sites. We do spend money in the local attractions, meaning cafes, local restaurants. So we want the real thing. So yeah, I think Estonia is the first country to acknowledge that digital nomads are not traveling there to work illegally and steal jobs. We just want to live in cool places and yeah, just enjoy, if we can legally live there for 2, 3, 4 months in try different countries. Surprisingly, we have some countries going in the opposite direction. Liam Martin told us about Egypt, for example. They are, when he asked about digital nomads, because Egypt is very warm, it could be a really cool hub in the northern Africa to digital nomads. They say, where are they? We have to expel them or we have to tax them. Spain is also doing the same. They are going after remote workers that are in Spain, and there are a lot, and they are trying to tax them because they are living in Spain for 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. I think Estonia is doing the right direction, and I hope to see more countries going in that direction because it's just acknowledging the reality. It's already here. I know countries take a long time to adjust, and I'm happy that Estonia is being faster than everyone else, but yeah, the digital nomad movement is here to stay. It's not moving anywhere, it's just growing. So as soon as we can legalize our stay in all the countries, it will be also good for everyone, I think.
Yeah, that's true, and it's a new normality. So it's nothing out of it's not extraordinary situation. It's the everyday situation that I don't know, 6 or 7 out of 10 already have. And it's not right to kind of say that it's a wrong way of living. Everybody chooses their own way of living, and the workplace doesn't have to be some physical room or office, and my business doesn't have to be local. My business can be global if I choose to have the global business. And instead of instead of criticizing and being negative about it, let's come together and think about the opportunities. Let's if it needs regulations, we are all on board that sometimes some things have to be regulated. Let's discuss it. Let's set it. Let's put it in effect, and everybody will follow. But just to be in this status quo that you are just closing your eyes to the changes that there are in the world, it's kind of doesn't make sense for me.
No, and the business opportunity is there. Let's be honest. Estonia is being very smart also on the business side, because this is good business for Estonia. Estonia grew a lot in the last 5 years because of all this marketing, all this publicity, but also due to this marketing and all this publicity and this easiness to do business, more people move there, more people visit Tallinn than ever before. More entrepreneurs with a lot of money are going to Tallinn because there is money. There is money. They follow the money. And when an entrepreneur visits Tallinn, again, he will spend in restaurants, he will spend in local businesses. So that's really, really a high impact. And because of that really good impact you are having, more countries are trying to copy the E-Residency program. We hear the news. First was Lithuania a couple of months ago, and last week, my country, Portugal, announced that they want to create a e-residency program. I'm really stoked about it. What does this mean to the world? Are we going the right direction? And on the second question, what this means to Estonia? Will Estonia still be unique, or will try to keep improving and keep being different, and by that keep attracting people and keeping the name out there?
I think it's a really good thing because it's flattering. It means that first of all, it's a confirmation that we are doing the right thing. Because if everybody else is picking it up on it, then it should be something that is attractive and beneficial. I have also heard there's a virtual company of Dubai. They also have similar plans to have the e-residency program. Then there's Azerbaijan, as far as I have heard. I have heard rumors that the Netherlands is doing the e-residency, and now we can say that Portugal. So I personally feel that it's a good thing that we have competitors, because this will push us to do more, to be on the next at the next level. That we don't rest on laurels. And for me, it's very important that we don't say that, oh, the work is done and that's it. We won't develop this program or the services anymore, or Estonia in general. But Estonia still has a slight advantage over others, because we have the digital state, or the e-state, behind the program. So we don't need to build up the infrastructure. But for many countries, they have to start from zero. So we had already the infrastructure, and we just created the doorway or portal to enter that. But the other countries, as far as I see, besides the door, they have to build up the whole house there.
Yeah, again, it's what I think the other countries don't understand, and I speak by my country in particular, is that, again, it's about bureaucracy. It's not about being able to start online companies, about having much less headaches than I would have if I had my company in a country like Portugal, where Portugal is great, but it's not the best place to do business because there is just too much bureaucracy. And you are the answer for that so far. And I don't see many countries trying to simplify as much as you have your system right now. And it will take long, long years until a country with high bureaucracy like Portugal or Spain or Netherlands to change into a country with really low bureaucracy like Estonia. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. And the entrepreneur doesn't want to be accountant or tax advisor or official who knows how to do all the licenses or registrations or lawyer. So there's no point to do the business if all the time goes into bureaucracy.
Yes, we
Because
hate that. Yeah.
yeah, the company's or business purpose is to make profit. And of course, it's really good if you can be social entrepreneur that making profit comes together with helping the world and so on. And as far as I know, most of the people do want to save the world and make it a better place. So I don't see that making profit or being an entrepreneur is something bad. But with all the regulations and paperwork and bureaucracy, it sometimes feels that authorities kind of they assume that everybody is doing scam or fraud, and that's why we have to have all these forms to fill and information to provide when there's, let's say, out of thousand perhaps who is really doing fraud or scam. So everybody else is suffering because of that. And
Yeah.
yeah, in Estonia you don't have to be accountant, you don't have to be tax advisor. It's you can have the company. I even know from Estonians, even some of my friends, they have their own companies, and they have never employed or outsourced accounting services or lawyers because it's so easy. You have just one sales invoice, one purchase invoice, and you do everything else on your own. So even that side is quite simple.
That is amazing. And I want to go back a little bit to one office because you are the solution for having less headaches, or your company does provide a lot of solutions to because you basically can manage everything. Can you tell us what is the work of one office and what is the paper of one office, the role of one office in all the e-residency program, and how are you helping entrepreneurs to set up a business in Estonia and take care of all the headaches we don't like to deal with?
Yeah. So in a really short two words, it's providing business services. But I will start with the beginning. So if somebody approaches us and says that they have a plan to have a Estonian company, then we ask what kind of business they plan to do, where they plan to do it, and so on. And we kind of want them to understand first that having Estonian company is a right step for them. And because of that, we provide tax consultation or the legal structure consultation because sometimes it's important to understand whether they should register the company as private person or whether as another legal entity and so on. So the first step is to solve these tax questions because it's really important as well to understand what are your steps going to mean to you, how much taxes you should pay or your company should pay and where and so on. And it's quite complicated puzzle word, but it's interesting for our tax advisors. So we start with that. When this is all clear and the client says he knows the risks, he knows the opportunities, then we go through the company registration procedure. This is the easiest step. This is literally, if you have the e-residency card, you just fill in the form with the information that we ask you. You sign digitally, and within one working day, you have the company. I even heard that the fastest company registration now has been done in 20 minutes in Estonia. So it's like you put 1 hour into it, and you have already legal entity.
Wow.
Then we have to comply with all the legal requirements because, for instance, in Estonia, the company has to have the contact person and local address if the management is located outside of Estonia. So we provide that service. And from there, we provide accounting services. If the company needs to register for VAT, if it wants to hire employees and salary calculation, everything that they can think of. If they want to do investments or if they want to take loans. So everything, all these steps and transactions have to go through accounting, and for that we have a monthly accounting services. For some, if they don't employ people in Estonia or if they don't have a VAT number, they can do the accounting only once per year for their annual report. And annual report is something that every company has to do it. And well, and we do provide legal services as well if they want consultations about how to hire employees or how to make changes in management or in shareholders list and so on. So and we even we our in-house lawyers even help to draft the contracts, service contracts, and so on. And should it go that far that the companies, let's say, the business will end and you feel that there's no point having a maintenance cost, then we can actually help with the closing the company. But this is now, as opposed to registering the company, this is now a long process. It's not very difficult, but it's just long process and takes much time.
You are focusing in opening, not in closing.
Yeah, that's my logic as well. That we want businesses to grow, because if they grow, then we grow. And every time I see that somebody has decided to close the company, I'm actually sad because it's not loss only for our company, but it's also loss for Estonian economy in general.
I have now. I have a lot of questions about the whole program and the whole taxes, because I receive a lot of questions about. I work for a US company. What should I do? I want to start a business in Europe. What should I do? So I have like 5-6 questions more about the process and about the taxes, and a lot about questions about legal sides. The first one is, when should a person contact you? Should a person contact you before or after they are a e-resident? So people have to apply to be an E-Residency. It takes more or less 1 month. I think that's more or less correct, right?
Yes, they can actually even contact before that, because we do have one product where the e-residency card state fee is included. So we assist with applying for the card. Of course, the person has to choose the pickup location, tell where the pickup location should be, and go there in person, because we can't give their fingerprints ourselves. Yeah, so for us, it's okay whether to contact us before they have the card or even afterwards, because sometimes perhaps they even don't, they might question whether to get the card or not, the e-residency card or status.
Okay, so they should contact you before, then you said, okay, yes, you should definitely open a company in Estonia. You are the right person. You have a business. Let's do this. What is the next step? So people have the card in hand. They contact you. What are the next steps?
Yeah, then we sort out the services they need, sort out the payment. Then we have our own little bureaucratic step, which is filling the KYC form. It's nothing horrible, but it's just one requirement that all these our activity licenses put on us. And once the client has filled the KYC form, then our lawyers basically prepare everything and just tell them, go to this site, sign with your e-residency card. We pay the state fee again, and usually within 1 working day or even less, the company is registered. And with that, they are actually set to start the business. Usually the next step after that is opening an account, and this now depends what kind of business they do, in which countries, and so on. But we work together with TransferWise and with Payoneer, so they do their onboarding online, and it's much easier for the client to actually have some account in order to start some businesses.
So 2 questions. First one, how long does this process, the whole process is, I want to become an e-resident, you are the right choice, to I have a company. How long the whole process goes for?
To get the e-residency card, it takes 1 or 2 months, depending where the pickup location is. If it's farther away, let's say in Southeast Asia or in America, then it takes longer, because the cards are sent, I guess, from Estonia to these pickup locations. If it's somewhere near here in Europe, then it's like 5 weeks or something like that. Usually the approval comes in 2 or 3 weeks. And as soon as you have collected the card, the company registration is literally in 1 or 2 days. Perhaps there's some negotiations or some information exchange with us. But the company itself is it's a question of a couple of days.
Nice. So it should be somewhere between 1 month for Europeans or 1 month and a half to 2 months for non-Europeans, more or less.
Yeah, yeah,
Average times, of course. Something
average
can go
time,
right,
yes.
can go wrong, but you are always improving. And is it possible to open a normal bank account in a Deutsche Bank or some other bank with a company from Estonia?
Estonian company can open an account anywhere. It doesn't matter whether it's fintech provider or whether it's traditional bank in Estonia or somewhere else. So there's no regulations or requirements that what it has to be. If some foreign bank says that yes, we opened the account, go for it. The only thing is in Estonia when we register the companies, we don't pay in the share capital. And this means that at some point you want to pay in the share capital because this is related to taking out profit from the company. If you want to take the profit from the company, you have to have first deposited your contribution there. And the only thing is that share capital can be contributed to European Economic Area banks or fintech providers. So if somebody would have a bank in US or Asia or South America, Africa, then the share capital contribution certificate is not accepted by registry. This is the only kind of restriction. But in that case, just to get this done, this kind of a little bureaucratic process is to have the TransferWise account and make the contribution there and
Start with them. And what's the cost of the process from the e-residency starting being an e-resident to open a company? What's the cost of the process with one office?
the setup costs are usually around 500-600 euros plus VAT, and VAT in Estonia is 20%. And I would say that the minimum maintenance cost, saying that if the company doesn't need monthly accounting, is also around 500-600 euros plus VAT per year. If it already has some activity but it's not very high number of transactions, then it's about 1,500 euros plus VAT, the maintenance cost. So it all depends on the profile of the company, but these are quite reasonable and relatively small if you compare to other EU countries.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's per year. So it's like less than 150 per month, 150 per month. What taxes do I pay as a company in Estonia? What taxes do I have to pay?
Well, Estonia has a unique tax system. First of all, our tax regulations and tax system is very stable. We have flat corporate income tax, which is 20%, but the catch is that it's paid only when profit is paid out from the company. So this is the really easy case when you have the Estonian company is Estonian tax resident. Then only if I want to take out profit, then I pay the tax. As I mentioned in the earlier answer, then taxes are complicated, and what the people have to be aware of are tax residency, the personal and the entities tax residency, and also the permanent established. Because basically, the general rule in EU is that where the companies run from, there the company should be paying taxes and according that country's rules. So even if you have the Estonian company, but you run the business from Germany, then German rules and regulations and tax rates might apply. And all the taxes are case sensitive. So what works for a friend might not work for you. So I would say that seek tax advice. This is investment for your life because you can avoid so many problems when you are aware already from the start what is going on with the taxes.
Yeah, I had some friends that got separated with a wife, and after like he lost everything, and in the end he was saying went to the lawyer because he lost pretty much everything. He went to the lawyer afterwards. And it's like, yeah, you should come before the issue happens, not after, because now there is nothing you can do. I think it's pretty much the same with the companies, right? You should contact everyone like lawyers or one office before you open a company, not afterwards, because afterwards it's too late. You can do big mistakes that you could easily avoid with a small tax or a small.
Yeah, with some big knowledge. Exactly. E-Residency page has a really cool knowledge base and learning center. So all these topics are covered there. One office also has blog posts about taxation and on other topics as well. our tax office is in English, and they are also quite willing to answer the questions. So tax offices, this is actually a tip or life hack, that tax offices, if they are friendly towards taxpayers, then they provide free information, and don't hesitate, for instance, to reach out to Estonian tax office and ask, explain what situation you have, what concerns and questions, and they will reply. They might reply with paragraphs and in a more complicated language, but at least you get some starting point where to think forward and so on. So in Estonia, we have a lot of information, and it's available in English as well. So anyone doing their homework and research should be well covered.
That's a good thing. Like, you all speak English. I had that issue with different countries, even in Hong Kong. The English is not very well spoken. And yeah, in Estonia, it looks like everybody speaks English. It's like a second language, but for everyone speaks English, like everyone.
Yeah, especially young people. It's they have grown up with the English language. My son even speaks better language than I do. So he's going to turn 14 soon. So
Damn, you did some good job there. I want to finish up talking about the future. And the first question about the future is, of course, where do you see Estonia in 10 years' time? I know this is a very futurologistic idea, but just where would you see Estonia in 10 years? 5 years ago, you didn't have, I think, 5 years ago, you didn't have the E-Residency program, or 7 years ago, you didn't have the E-Residency program. Now you are in the mouth of the world, and you are almost at the peak, maybe, or I don't know. Where do you see this whole Estonia E-Residency program? What is next for Estonia? What's happening there? How do you see the future for your great country?
well, being an Estonian, I can be a bit critical as well. I wouldn't say that we have reached the peak. I would like to think that we are still in the beginning. There is a lot to do because of the banking situation. It's not that easy to get the traditional local bank accounts for e-residents. So I would say that in 10 years, I would like that Estonia is still the leader of the digital world, that we don't rest on laurels, that e-residency program is still alive and in good health, and has developed to be perhaps something even bigger than Estonia. And I would like to, see that we are still known, or even known more. That if somebody says Estonia, then everybody knows what it's talking about, like Silicon Valley. So, but without all this bad or negative tones.
Connotation. Yeah. But the Prime Minister of Estonia does listen to this podcast. Do you have any ideas for him on that you would wish them to implement in the future?
Oh, I just wish him, for Yuri, I wish that he has strength to fight with populism, and that he stays true with his principles, and does what is best for Estonian people, and also listens to those who are in a very direct contact with foreigners, like with foreign students, the startup world, and so on. Because it's one thing to get re-elected, but to get re-elected when people are happy. These are my thoughts, humble thoughts.
Okay. So, Prime Minister of Estonia, you do have a message for you. Keep pushing. And is there any message that you would pass to everyone listening to us?
I would say that if somebody has thought of changing their status quo, struggling and wanting to get out of the comfort zone, starting with the business is a huge step to get out of the comfort zone, and do seek out advice and think through. And it's okay to decide to do it, and it's very okay to decide that it's not for me as well. So I would say that follow your dreams and implement or act on them as well, not just dreaming.
Nice. That's a very, very good message to all the entrepreneurs or future entrepreneurs out there. Where can people find out more about you, Kristiina, and about One Office?
So we have the website oneoffice.co, and you even see my picture on that, and there's live chat. You can be in touch with us over Skype, live chat, email, phone numbers. We are also in Facebook, and we are also in LinkedIn, so you can follow us as well.
Amazing. Thank you very much for your time, Kristiina. It was amazing to have you in the podcast. I do hope to visit you soon in Tallinn. I really want to visit. Maybe this summer I'll be quite close. I'll be in Bulgaria, so maybe I just go up a little bit and visit you in the summer. I heard it's quite good in Tallinn as well. So yeah, I hope to see you soon.
Thank you for having me, and I will take this as a promise. See you in summer.
Oh, pressure is on. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this amazing conversation with Kristiina. She knows everything about e-residency, and it's just so deep to try and talk with someone like her about the e-residency program. I had a blast. I learned a lot, and actually, I just became an e-citizen. So I am so happy about that. It's good to be a part of the future of work. To everyone else, if you want to find out more about the One Office, you should check the number office.co. Do you have all the information there you need? They just started a partnership with TransferWise, for example. So it's perfect for e-residents to have their bank account in the cloud. So make sure you connect with them if you are trying to open a company in Estonia. The guys are amazing. I can just say that I love working with them. Guys, until the next one, please keep connected and let's make the remote work movement the new normal. See you, everyone, and I find you out there.